So Nate is looking for someone to stretch him out. Any volunteers in the Austin, Texas area?
So, I'm curious where I should go for yoga in Austin starting like now. I'm so done with being so, what's the word, inflexible, unflexible, non-flexible. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing and I need to change this. So I need a yoga studio to go to like come Monday morning, Monday afternoon, whatever it may be. But people who live in Austin, please help me out because I need to change.
If I were Michelle, I'd say, boo-boo, let's look into some remote options. And matter of fact, I've got an option right here. Just grab your mat and relax and join us for a session of yoga.
And then point your fingertips back toward your knees, and now we're going to rock just forward and back, nice and gently, stretching the fronts and backs of the forearms. And if at any point this feels like pinching or too much of a stretch, you just back off the stretch, make it a little bit smaller. And then last thing for the wrists here, we're going to come onto the tops of the hands. Don't put all of your weight here, sort of angle your hips back a bit and gently bring your weight forward onto the tops of the hands and then gently back. So you're just kind of playing with how much weight you're bringing into the wrist. This is a really big stretch for the forearms, but really nice for all the typing and device work that we're doing for most of our day. If it feels nice, you can start to just bend and release your knuckles here. Make sure you're still breathing, and then sit back on your heels, shake out your wrist, let that go. All right, we're gonna turn our attention to our toes. Come back to your tabletop, tuck your toes behind you. Get all 10 toes, if you can, onto the mat, spread them out nice and wide, and then you're gonna gently sit your hips back onto your heels, walk your hands back, and sit up. Rest your hands on top of your thighs, and we're just here for 10 breaths. So we're just stretching the toes here. For some people, this is really easy, feels really nice. You can stay, no problem. For others, it feels really intense. You can always back off and bring your hands back to the mat. Just a few more breaths. I'm going to turn the music down a little. And now moving into the spine. We're back in tabletop. We're going to move the spine, articulate it into a curl in opposite directions. So let your belly sink low, gaze high, find what we call a cow posture. And then articulate in the opposite direction, cat. Pull the belly button up toward the spine, press into your hands, your knees, and your shins, and find a deep curl. Inhale as you draw the belly down, the gaze up, stretch through the back, through the front of the neck. Exhale, curl in the opposite direction, cat pose. If you can really roll your belly button back toward your spine and your tailbone down toward the earth. Take a few more rounds of cat and cow at your own pace here, using your breath to move deeper into each posture. And see if you can find new length, new stretch in each articulation of the spine. So especially if we've been sitting all day, this might feel tight. Or maybe your spine feels really mobile and easy. Either way, just enjoy the movement. Take one more full round with your breath. And then come back to tabletop. And we'll start to engage the core. Tuck your toes behind you. Lift your knees an inch or a half inch off the mat and hover. Pull your belly button back toward your spine, dome through your shoulders. Bring your gaze to the front edge of your mat so the back of your neck is nice and long. We're breathing here, engaging the core. Arm muscles are starting to fire, legs are firing. For 3, 2, 1, downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. Let your heels sink toward the mat. Press your chest back toward your thighs. So in this downward facing dog, we're trying to make an upside down V. Your heels don't have to touch the mat, but they do come close. So start to pedal out your feet and just get some length through the backs of your legs, bending into one knee and then the other. As you do, stretch your fingers wide, press into your knuckles. Let your head be heavy, your head and your neck aren't doing any work here. Then come back to stillness in your downward facing dog. Hips go up and back, heels sink toward the mat. We're breathing. You can continue to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, or if you want to start to build some heat as we start to move, you can breathe in and out through the nose, sealing the lips. One more inhale in your down dog. And then as you exhale, walk your feet up to your hands, come into a ragdoll forward fold. Bring your feet hip-width distance apart, bend your knees, lay your torso down on or toward your thighs. Let your head be heavy and your fingertips can touch the mat, or if they're really far off the mat, grab something nearby and prop your hands up on something. I've got a block, that's a nice option. Or maybe you're feeling very bendy today and you want a little more stretch, reach opposite hand to opposite elbow and maybe sway side to side. So we're just here for a couple more breaths, whichever option feels nice to you. We're stretching the backs of the legs. We're stretching the whole spine here as well. For this last breath, imagine the crown of your head is going closer to the earth. You're lengthening out. Now release your hands to the mat if you bound them, and bend your knees, slowly roll up to stand. Really nice and slow. Curling, articulating the spine all the way up. And then bring yourself, if you're not already there, to the top of your mat, either side. Bring your big toes to touch, your heels slightly apart. We're going to start to take some slow sun A. Inhale, sweep your arms up, gaze up, find a long stretch. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees so that your fingers can touch the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Draw your hands to your shins. Find a long, flat spine, as though I could put something on my back here and it would stay. So I'm finding length through the spine down, and then draw your belly back a bit so you're not dumping into your low back here. Take another inhale. Exhale, drop your hands to the mat. Tuck your back toes, step back, high plank. Hold your high plank just for 3 breaths. And anytime we're in high plank, you can always come down to your knees. Take one more inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. Allow your heels to sink toward the mat. Inhale, look to the mat, or look to your hands. Exhale, step your feet toward your hands. Inhale as you roll up to stand. And exhale here. We'll do the other side. Inhale, sweep your arms high, find a big stretch. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees enough so that your fingers touch the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, find length through your spine. Exhale, low lunge. Plant your hands, step your left foot back this time. Drop your left knee down. Inhale as you sweep your arms high. Settle here for a few breaths. So in this low lunge, we're just trying to find a nice gentle stretch along the front of the left hip flexor, so the very front of the left hip, especially stretching after sitting all day. We're finding a little strengthening through the right hamstring, a little stretch through the right hamstring as well. Take one more inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the mat, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, high plank. Hold in your high plank for 3 breaths. Firm your quads and your glutes here so that the whole body is engaged. Arms are working, core is working. You're nice and stable. Take 1 more inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll put all of this together and we're going to start to move a little quicker, building some heat. Inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, step or hop your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, find length. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Press into your feet, sweep your arms high, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold. Come right back down, nice and easy. Inhale, halfway lift. Find length in your spine. Exhale, low lunge. Step your right foot back. Drop your back knee. Inhale, raise your arms up. Maybe gaze up this time. Maybe find a little stretch back. Exhale, high plank. Plant your hands. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Inhale here. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, step or hop up to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, find length. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose, stretch all the way up. Exhale, forward fold, right back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, low lunge. Step your left foot back, drop your back knee. Inhale, arms up. Maybe keep going back, little back bend. Exhale, high plank, plant your hands, step back. Inhale here. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're gonna add on to this sequence. So go ahead and come down to your knees, take child's pose for a moment. Separate your knees as wide as the mat. Sit your hips back on your heels, walk your hands forward, come down to your forehead. Just take a few breaths to check back in with your breath, your body, your mind. Notice how things are feeling now that you're moving. Walk your hands back, come into your tabletop, tuck your toes, downward facing dog, hips up and back. Inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, step or hop your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, find length through your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose, press into your feet, sweep your arms high. Exhale, forward fold, right back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, low lunge, step your right foot back. Option to stay lifted or come down to your knee like we did the first time. Inhale, sweep your arms high. So now we're either in high crescent lunge or our back knee is still on the mat. Take an inhale. Exhale, twist to your left. Left arm goes back, right arm goes forward. Maybe gaze over your left fingertips. Inhale, high crescent or low lunge. Exhale, high plank. Plant your hands, step back. This time we're going to bring in our low plank, our Chaturanga Dandasana. Option to stay in your high plank and go straight to down dog. Or inhale as you shift your shoulders forward. Exhale, lower halfway, squeeze your elbows into your ribs. Flip your toes. Inhale, upward facing dog. Lift your chest, lift your thighs. Exhale, downward facing dog. So that's adding quite a lot to that sequence. Again, take what works for you and leave out what doesn't. Inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, step or hop to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain, big stretch up. And exhale, forward fold, right back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, low lunge, step your left foot back. Option to drop the knee or keep it lifted. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, twist, right arm goes back. We're building heat in this Sun A, Sun B sequence. And then we'll start to come down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, high plank. Option to stay here and go straight to downward facing dog. Option to shift forward, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Come down to child's pose, knees wide. Sit your hips back on your heels, forehead comes down. Again, check in with your breath and notice how your body is feeling. So we're just going to move through one more add-on to that sequence. And again, this is a take it or leave it practice, so feel free to take as much as serves you and leave what doesn't. And again, we're in the part of the practice where we're building some heat, warming the muscles, and then we'll start to stretch them more. Come back up through tabletop, tuck your toes behind you, downward facing dog. Inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, walk or hop your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain. Press into your feet, sweep your arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, low lunge. Step your right foot back. Back knee can drop or stay lifted. Inhale, high crescent or low lunge. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Twist your torso to the left. Hook your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Crescent twist. This is a nice one to drop your back knee and really focus on the twist. And if your back knee stays lifted, you're in more of a balanced, strengthening posture. We're here for 3 breaths. See if you can use your inhale to lengthen and your exhale to press your elbow against the outer edge of your thigh. Find a deeper twist. Take one more inhale. Exhale, bring your hands to the mat. Toe heel your left foot to the outer edge of the mat with your toes pointing slightly out. So both of your hands are on the inside of your left foot. Drop your back knee. Now we're in a lizard pose. Untuck your back toes. Take a moment here to sort of scoot your hips forward and back and just settle into this posture. We're going to stay here for a while, 10 breaths or so. And this is a nice place to really settle in. So if you can come down to your forearms. That might be a lot. If you've got a block or any sort of pillow or prop nearby, you can bring your forearms on top of that, bring the floor closer to you. And then wherever you settle, let your head be heavy. So give your head and your neck a break. If this stretch feels very intense, you can always sit your hips back a little bit and then ease back in, find your edge again. If it doesn't feel intense enough, then perhaps you can come down to one forearm or both. We'll move to the other side. Take a big breath in here, in through your nose. And a big breath out through your mouth. Inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, walk your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, find length. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain. Press into your feet, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, low lunge. Step your left foot back. Inhale, high crescent, or your back knee can be down. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart center. Twist to your right. Bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee and twist. Option to bring your back knee down and focus more on the twist. If your back knee is lifted, you're focused on strengthening that back leg and you've got a bit of a balance challenge going on. Take one more deep inhale. Exhale, drop your hands to the mat. Toe heel your right foot to the outer edge of the mat. Toe is pointed slightly out, heel in. Come down to your back knee. So in this posture, ideally, your front knee is stacked over your front ankle. Both hands are on the inside of your right foot now. Take a moment to just shift your hips forward and back. Get the feeling of where you're going to settle. Where is your edge for this posture? And then once you've settled, you might see if you want to come down to one forearm or both. Maybe allow your head to be heavy and rest here. This is more of a passive resting stretch. So as much gravity as you can allow to do its work here, the better. And then make sure wherever you are, you're still breathing. Just 2 more breaths. Is there something you can let go of? Some muscle tension? Some mind tension? And then come back up to your hands if you came down. Tuck your back toes. Step your right foot back to meet your left, high plank. And then you know the drill. You can go right to downward facing dog. You can come down to your knees, or you can take chaturanga, shifting your shoulders forward, lowering halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And come down to child's pose. We will start to transition into some longer stretching postures. We'll take 2 balancing postures just to give ourselves a little bit of a mind challenge as well. And then we'll be down on the mat. Just checking the time. All right, come back to your tabletop, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Walk your feet up to meet your hands, and then slowly roll up to stand. So we'll take a figure 4 balancing posture here to stretch the outer hips and glutes and give ourselves a moment to find focus in this balancing posture. So you can bring the weight into your left foot and bend your right knee, hooking your right ankle on top of your left knee. Bring your hands to your heart. Sit your hips back and down, just like you're sitting into a chair. Some people call this camper's posture. But you're making sort of a 4 with your legs. Keep your right foot flexed. And this is all you have to do. If you want more of a stretch along the outside of the right hip and your hamstrings are nice and stretched, you can start to bend your torso forward into a forward fold, bringing your hands to the mat, allowing your head to be heavy. Now you're just folding over that left leg. And then if that's not happening, you're just staying in your figure 4 for 1 more breath. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale, stand straight. Plant your right foot back on the mat. Release your arms, shake out your arms and legs. Bend your left knee, hook your left ankle on top of your right knee. Sit back and down, so you're pressing your hips back all the way until you feel the stretch along the outside of the left hip. Keep your left foot flexed. If you wobble, that's wonderful. See if you can find a point to focus on in front of you. So standing balancing postures are very much about focus of the mind as much as focus of the body. If you did on the other side, you can start to bend forward, bringing your fingertips to the mat or the floor, starting to maybe straighten your right leg, finding a deeper stretch. And then slowly straighten your right leg, rest your left foot down, shake out your arms and legs, let those postures go. And we'll take tree pose, our last standing posture. Bring the weight into your left foot, and then bring the sole of your right foot to the inside of your left ankle or calf or inner thigh. Any of these places is wonderful. Once you settle in, bring your hands back to your heart, pressing your palms together. You're standing up nice and tall, and again, find a spot somewhere in front of you that's not moving, where you can focus your gaze. I'm going to be quiet and we'll be here for 5 breaths. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, slowly release your right foot back to the mat. Release your arms, shake out your arms and legs. Move to the other side. Bring the weight into your right foot. Sole of the left foot comes to the inside of the ankle, the calf, or the inner thigh. You're just avoiding the knee joint. Press the thigh into the foot into the thigh, or wherever the foot is, press that back into the foot. So you've got some counterbalance there, and then find your gaze point. We'll breathe for 5 breaths. Take one more inhale, and then one more exhale. Slowly release your foot back to the mat. Release your arms by your sides, shake them out, shake out your legs. And we'll come to stand at the top of the mat. One last time, we'll take our vinyasa to get down to the mat, and then we'll be down for the duration of class. Bring your big toes to touch, heels slightly apart, firm through the thighs, stand up nice and tall. Inhale, sweep your arms up, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward, hands to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, high plank. Step both feet back. Last high plank of this practice, and our last low plank, last chaturanga. Option to go straight back to downward facing dog, or if you're taking the full vinyasa, shift your shoulders forward, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog, big stretch. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep your right leg high. Exhale, bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Come into half pigeon pose. Straighten out your leg behind you. And for a moment, just sit up tall. And then you can fold forward over your right leg. If your right hip is really far up off the mat, if you've got a pillow or a blanket or a towel, you can bring that underneath your right hip to give it a little support. And then fold all the way forward, either coming to your forearms or your forehead. We're here for 10 full breaths. If this is too much on your knee, you can take this in a supine pigeon posture. So swing your legs around in front of you, roll to your back, flex your right toes, hook your right ankle over your left knee, and then just hug your knees into your chest. So either way, just about 7 more breaths here. more breaths in your pigeon posture. See if there's anything more that you can release with each exhale, allowing your hips to sink closer to the earth, allowing your belly to soften, your jaw, your forehead. And slowly make your way back up to your hands if you came down. If you're in the supine version, you can just switch your legs. Tuck your back toes, downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet, bring some fresh circulation back to your right hip. And then inhale, sweep your left leg high. Exhale, shift forward, half pigeon. Bring your knee behind your wrist. So as you set up, you're setting up so that your hips are facing the front of the room or the front of the mat, and they're also square to the mat. So you want to make sure you're not toppled over to the side. It can be a lot of pressure on that left knee, which is why the supine version is a nice option. And if your left hip is way up off the mat, prop it up with something so that you've got some support there. You can stay lifted, but it's nice to find some sort of release here, coming either to your forearms or down to your forehead if you can. And then just letting the head be heavy. Let the eyes close or be relaxed. There's no work that needs to be done by the eyes right now. Take just one more full breath here. See if there's something you can let settle or soften. Come back up to your hands if you came down. Tuck your back toes, step back to downward facing dog. And then slowly walk your hands back to your feet and take a seat. Stretch your legs out in front of you or taking a forward fold. So flex your toes, put your inner thighs together. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Reach for your legs, your ankles, your feet. Doesn't really matter, wherever your hands land. Take a deep inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, soften. Take just 3 more breaths here. With each exhale, again, see if there's something that you can allow to soften, relax, release. Can you find a deeper stretch along the backs of the legs, along the low back? Inhale, rise back up, and exhale, lower down to your back. And scoot your hips forward and roll down. Hug your knees into your chest. And then scoot your hips over to the right. Let your knees fall to the left. Bring your right arm out to the side. Gaze over your right fingertips. Just taking a nice, easy, gentle twist. And now again, allow your eyes to be heavy or closed. Draw your knees back up through center. And this time, scoot your hips over to the left. Let your knees fall over to the right. Send your left arm out, gaze over your left fingertips. And then draw both knees back through center. Separate your knees nice and wide. Bend at the knees. Reach for the insides or outsides of your soles of your feet. Take happy baby pose. In happy baby, if this isn't comfortable, hands on your feet, you can always reach your hands just behind your knees. But the idea is that you're just getting a nice stretch along the inner thighs, the whole hip. You can rock side to side if that feels nice.
This is happy baby. This is a happy baby.
And then draw your knees back together. Wrap yourself into a little ball, roll your nose up to your knees, find a deep, deep, deep curl here. Last bit of energy and effort before we come into our final posture. Take a deep inhale, curl in, and then exhale, release, Shavasana. Send your legs long on the mat, bring your arms out by your sides with your palms facing up. And one other option for this final posture where we'll take rest for about a minute. You can bend your knees on the mat, knock your knees together, bring your feet wide, and then let your arms rest out by your sides. This can be a nice way to relieve tension on the low back. So choose the posture that makes the most sense for you. Allow your eyes to be heavy or closed. And slowly bring some movement back into your fingers and toes. Curl your knees into your chest and roll to your right side. And then slowly, gently push your way up back into a comfortable seat right where we started. Cross-legged or sitting back on your heels. Allow your hands to settle onto your knees. Allow your eyes to stay heavy or closed. Sit up nice and tall. Take a deep breath in through your nose and a big sigh out from your mouth. Take one more deep inhale. Feel the breath move through your entire body. And then sigh it out one last time, letting something go. Some muscle tension, some holding, some gripping, something from your day that you can leave here on this mat. Bring your hands to your heart center, bow your head. Thank yourself for coming to practice, giving yourself time, sharing your energy with everyone in this space.
I hope Nayte feels better after that class, and I hope you feel better too. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you all soon.